please? Thank you. The last Wednesday of every month, the men of the church meet in the youth Sunday school classroom. See Greg Carter for more info.
Okay, Greg, what you got for us? Meeting.
Thank you, George.
211.
Thank you.
You preached on this morning.
What's that? Oh, I did. Right. Yeah, that's my sermon notes from this morning. Love you. Is that, is this even still on? We had run into some issues where it was picking up songs that was kind of.
Oh, yes, it did once. I don't know if it's done it again.
Okay.
We're on. We're live.
Okay. Good.
Hey, Miss Kitty.
Hey, Miss Kitty.
Hey, Connie Key.
Hi, Connie Key.
Miranda Bryant
Hey,
Welch.
Miranda. Okay, very good. I think we're on page 17, section 6. We are continuing our evaluation of the Levels Baptist Church Constitution and Bylaws. So, Brother Charlie, read all of that section 6. There's 3 short paragraphs, please, sir.
Flower Bible Committee. This committee shall consist of a chairman and 2 members. This committee shall be responsible for having appropriate floral arrangements placed in the sanctuary for all worship services, along with another authorized authorized floral requirements.
There's something funny with
Yeah,
that
that don't
sentence there.
sound, they don't flow. This committee shall be responsible for sending a Bible from Levels Baptist Church family in the event of the death of a member, spouse, children, stepchildren, parent, brother, or sister of a member.
All right. So obviously there's something funny with that middle paragraph with that wording. The word another seems like it's extra, like it doesn't need to be there.
Yes.
I think we could just eliminate that word another. And then this 3rd paragraph, this is a practice that we voted to stop doing. Just strike that entire thing. I mean, we could put in here the new practice of what we do now, but either way, all of that's done and going. Any other comments or questions on section 6?
So the 2nd paragraph, or the 3rd paragraph there is...
We can just remove that entirely.
remove
We
that
don't do
entirely.
that anymore. Now, when a member dies or a close family member of a member, the church sends money to the Gideons in honor of the person that passed. And I don't even know what the number is, $20 maybe or something, or $25. So the money is sent to the Gideons, scriptures are purchased, and
They're on memory.
amen. Good stuff. Brother Greg, section 7.
History Committee. This committee shall consist of the historian elected by the church each year, the current church clerk, and secretary of the deacons. This committee is especially concerned with gathering and preserving available church records, recording full and accurate records, and using the records to help members understand and appreciate their heritage and mission.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Section 7, History Committee. Any comments or questions? Do you have the list again tonight, Joe, that has all the various committees and member names? Is the History Committee listed, and what names are given there?
Joe, Debbie, and David.
I'm just curious if that's what's in print, if that's what made it into the nominating report.
Yeah, but Debbie's gonna be on there.
You did?
Yeah, it was back there in the back.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I just happened to remember that. I looked at it this morning.
Okay, I was just curious because I don't even remember that these names, not names, but these titles, I didn't remember that they were even a part of the history committee. The current church clerk and the secretary of the deacons, I really didn't even remember that.
Those are two good sources for church history.
Well, so, I mean, personally, David, I'm thrilled that you take such good care of that information, that you preserve that for us. And I really enjoyed the display that we had at last year's homecoming. I mean, that was really fantastic, all of that information. Does it say that, Joe?
Yeah.
History committee?
Yeah.
David, you and,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that,
Open historian.
we have, David's name is not listed, or it is?
Yeah,
It
they
is.
could do this.
But there is a slot for our open.
Mhm.
Well, I guess you could have 3 or 4 members. I don't know if you have to have 4 necessarily, but you could. All right. Miss Debbie, Section 8, please.
Visitation and Evangelical Committee. The committee shall consist
Thank
of
you.
all active deacons. This committee shall be charged with the systematical selection of prospective members from the records of all church organizations and other church activities where a record of visitors is kept. Although it is the responsibility of every Christian to continue efforts relative to the Great Commission, it is the select purpose of this committee to visit on a regular basis at least one day per week in pairs the members and prospective members of our church and encourage attendance and full-scale participation in the activities and responsibilities of our church toward the glorification of the kingdom of God.
Amen. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Brother Stephen, Section 9, please.
This committee shall consist of 6 members, including at least 4 women. This committee is responsible for setting regulations governing the use of the kitchen and dining room equipment. They shall make recommendations to the appropriate committees concerning the equipment and maintenance of the kitchen. They shall also supervise all church-wide dining activities and be active in ornamentation and display of all foodstuffs for these activities, plus the necessary steps to secure the building and equipment following activities.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions on Section 9?
I don't think we have to have including at least 4 women. It could be anyone who wants to put forth that effort.
Well, it just depends on if you want it done right or not.
True, but I wouldn't second it. There are some men who are very good cooks.
So, now that Stephen has brought me this copy of the nominating report, I have this in front of me, hostess, and it's listed different though. It says hostess and bereavement committee is what's in this nominating report. Hostess and bereavement committee instead of hostess and kitchen committee. So I don't know, it's the same thing, I'm sure, right?
But they normally provide a meal. It's somebody here is the only reason I can figure that's in there.
Anyway, so Margie Taylor's the chairman, Charlene Dehart, Judy Glover, Debbie Thomas, Christy Taylor, Wanda Berkey, and Catherine Wren are the names listed there. Which is actually, that's 7, and they're all women.
Do you think we need a name in this nominating?
Well, so that is a good question. Do we change
Name it what it's named
this
here.
to match what's in this? The hostess and bereavement committee, it's one and the same, I guess. I mean, they do both.
What do we have? Bereavement committee in here coming up.
Like we said, they provide meals usually for family members of.
I don't remember it being listed as part of the title. It's just part of what they do. I don't know if it has to be a part of the title. And really, for that matter, I don't even know if kitchen has to be a part of the title in Section 9. The hostess committee, I mean, obviously they're going to work in the kitchen. So, either way. Yeah, it's a kind of a minor thing, but it probably wouldn't hurt if they matched, right? David, you're up, section 10.
I read that, but we don't have a library anymore.
So,
You would just scratch that, I'll read the next one.
we have no library.
No,
All right.
I'll read 11 of it. Long range.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, move on to section 11. Yes, sir.
Long Range Planning Committee. This committee shall consist of 3 members and by Long Range Committee Growth Forecast. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Shall make plans concerning property and facilities to meet projected needs when a specific project is approved by the church. Directions from that organization will be relinquished to a special elected committee.
All right, thank you very much, David. Section 11, Long Range Planning Committee. And that is currently, according to this nominating report, myself, Wanda Berkey, and Shirley Wilson. Any comments or questions?
We've met once, twice.
We haven't met in a long
It's
time,
been a while. It's been a minute.
but we definitely should. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other comments or questions on section 11? Brother Joe, section 12, please.
Nominating committee. This committee shall consist of at least 5 members, including at least 1 woman, to serve with the pastorate in making nominations for a full slate of officers as described in this Constitution and bylaws, and to make nominations for any necessary replacements which may occur during the year. The nominations for the upcoming church year shall be made in regular conference in December. This committee shall be recommended by the previous nominating committee and approved by the church. It shall be the duty of this committee, working with the pastor, to nominate for election all standing and special committees, church officers, with the exception of the called staff members, and all workers within the church organization, following the plan set forth in Article 10, Section 4 by the bylaws. In the event the nominating committee slate of officers, teachers, and committee members are not voted on and approved by December 31st of the current year, the officers, teachers, and committee members of the current year will carry on until a slate of officers, teachers, and committee members are voted on and approved in the new year.
All right, thank you very much, Brother Joe. And the nominating report listing here for those members of the nominating committee, currently myself, Stephen Thomas, Harry Bird, Carolyn Polk, and there is 1 slot open.
Not a big deal, but teacher is not plural.
Yeah, it should be plural there towards the very end there.
Yeah, each time it says teacher is not plural.
Yep, the officers, teacher, and committee members, and then the next sentence, slate of officers, teacher, and committee members, both times it should be plural. So again, that's not a real big deal, but
Just a little
if we're
grammatical
gonna make corrections.
error.
Anything else? Any other comments or questions on the nominating committee? All right, back to you, Brother Charlie, section 13.
Nursery Coordinating Committee. This committee is responsible for the coordination of nursery activities for all organizations, worship services, and special events for the proper function of the nurseries and for providing adequate facilities and equipment for this purpose. This committee shall consist of a church-elected chairman and the Sunday school nursery department directors, church training department nursery directors, women's missionary union nursery leaders, and active deacons, and parents vitally interested in the nursery program. This committee shall also enlist and train nursery workers for worship services and other activities.
All right. The current listing for nursery coordinating committee, Charlene Dehart, director, Joe Dehart, and 2 open slots. Any comments or questions? guess we don't have Sunday school, nursery department directors as far as filling these slots or going in alignment with what's listed here. Church training department, nursery director, women's missionary union nursery leaders, active deacons. I don't think we have these. I mean, I guess you and Charlene fill all those roles, Joe.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other comments or questions? Brother Greg, section 14, please, sir.
Personnel Committee. This committee shall consist of 4 members. It shall be the duty of this committee to periodically review personnel code, duties, salaries, vacations, privileges, restrictions, absenteeism, and present recommendations to the church after coordination with the deacons. Any recommendations for salary adjustments will be made to the deacons and finance committee for their consideration before presentation to the church. It shall also be the duty of this committee to work with the pastor and deacons, subject to the approval of the church in all matters concerning personnel and staff members, and to recommend and secure any personnel needed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Personnel Committee. Currently it is myself, Perry Bird, Jody Hart, and Judy Glover, 1 open slot. Well, there's 4 of us, counting me, but if it's supposed to be 4 plus me, then there's an open spot. I think that, if I remember right, what we had decided at some point, maybe a year or so ago, is that the deacons would make up the personnel committee, and at the time you weren't yet a deacon, so.
Welcome aboard, Charlie.
Scratch that open slot.
There's not an open slot anymore.
Scratch that. Spot filled.
All right. Any other comments or questions on personnel committee? All right. Miss Debbie, section 15.
Recreation Committee. This committee shall consist of 3 members and shall be responsible for the upkeep of recreation equipment and for working with the church organizations in planning and guiding the total recreation program of the church.
Thank you so much. That is Recreation Committee, section 15, and currently serving as listed, David Bird, Patrick Folk, Grant Hoffman, and Jim Folk, which is 4. So somehow there's 4 names listed there. Any comments, any questions?
I think a lot of these committees, we should put at least contains 3. If we get an extra person, that's always good.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, you can always have too many, you know, once you get up to 8, 10, or 12 members, but 3 is a pretty small number. It's okay to have 4, I think.
I don't know if we need to change it or not. I was just making a comment.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why there's anything wrong with having 4. It just depends on how we want to look at it. It shall consist of 3 members. What does that mean? That it's illegal if there's 4? I mean, I think we make that determination.
I think at one time we done that so we could get more people involved and make them feel like they were involved in the workings of the church.
I mean, we could put some wording in there to say something.
3 years.
At least 3, or we could put 3-5, you know, somewhere from 3 to 5 range maybe. But sometimes these numbers are, God bless you, sometimes they have something to do with the ability to fill. I mean, you can say we need 6 members. We're fixing to get to a couple of these in a minute where it's going to say X number of members, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, whatever number, and there's 1 or 2 or none. And so, you know, we're in a situation where this can say 3 or 5 or 10, it can say whatever it wants to say, but if we don't have people willing to serve,
Probably best just to leave it alone right now.
maybe.
Until we get
Okay,
Bill back up.
all right. That's fine with me. All right, Brother Stephen,
Sir.
section 16, please, sir.
Ushers Committee. This committee shall consist of 4 members and 2 alternates. The member of this committee shall serve as ushers in all services of the church, except in special instances such as vacation Bible schools, weddings, etc., where variances may be in order. This committee shall be in charge with the opening and securing of all buildings or all church-wide activities according to the current operating procedure. The chairman of this committee shall be charged with the duty of seeing that sufficient number of ushers are on duty and organized according to service. The ushers are responsible for orderly and courteous seating of worshipers in all regular and special services, and on behalf of the church extending a cordial greeting to all worshipers. They shall be responsible for maintaining order, comfort, and dignity throughout the various services.
All right, thank you, sir. Ushers Committee, currently listed, David Byrd, Perry Byrd, Patrick Folk, David Mosley. 2 open spots.
Welcome aboard, Stephen.
Please, might as well put my name in there.
Okay.
I'm pretty well outside and inside,
Yeah.
opening and
absolutely.
shutting in the church.
Right. I have a question in the second line of that second paragraph makes reference to the current operating procedures. Does that exist? Is that a thing?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of either.
Was there any-
Not in writing.
You know, that, the ushers committee, that, a lot of that falls in line with the security,
Well, safety.
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 But I agree with you. They are very much in alignment. Because the wording in this second long paragraph talks about orderly, courteous, cordial greeting, maintaining order, comfort, dignity. I mean, all those words sort of tie in with safety, with
At one time, the ushers were, I don't know how to say this, was more of a student organization. It was probably 8 to 10 ushers at one time, and they rotated by Sundays. You know, I remember getting a card, and for a month, I was the usher, and we literally opened and closed the building. At least one of us, of that board that was going to serve that week was here.
Gotcha.
And I think over the years, as things have got fewer and fewer people, it's just been left over. Who was the first one here opened up,
right.
and the last one here locked up, so.
Well, and so this is one of those.
This pretty well takes care of the comfort and everything, making sure the air conditioner's running, the heater's on,
Yeah.
or whatever else comes up.
I mean, this is a little bit of a combination of the safety team and the building the grounds, kind of.
Well, one of the things that's interesting about this, they sort of, like you said, they tie together, because we have actually discussed aspects of ushers being parking lot security
Right.
measures.
Right.
We call it safety, but that's what it is.
Sure.
And that would expand the duty of the ushers if we get to that level.
Right.
We've talked about that as some of our goals in safety. We got a good representation for the safety team here.
Yeah, we do. I'd say so.
Yeah.
Perhaps all ushers that are listed should be on the safety team.
They probably should be.
Or at least their chairman, if you will.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good
I
idea.
wondered if, like we did the arms security permits.
Yeah.
Make that as a subgroup of the safety team.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of what we had talked about before we're doing, if you remember with the,
that makes good sense.
we can just adopt the ushers basically.
So one of the things, obviously, that the usher used to do that we don't pass a plate so we don't collect the offering in that manner. So that's one of the duties that's fallen off of their list of duties that they don't do anymore, but they are still charged with some of these things, which I don't know how much you ever have to help somebody find a seat. There's plenty of open seats. It's kind of easy to find
Right
a
up
seat.
front, there's plenty.
Yeah, well, tell me about it.
First,
Three rows.
I mean,
there's 3 rows.
I'm always curious, is it me? Because I'm the one that's up front here. Am
It
I?
would help if you took a shower.
I guess I need to, I mean, I thought that one Saturday night was enough. So there's a really good idea in what you've said there, making the ushers a subcommittee of the safety team.
And I think over time, as the safety team develops more policies, procedures dealing with emergency operations and that sort of thing, we're going to see these overlap and
Yep.
incorporate with each other.
Yep,
And both of these descriptions will probably change, I
Yep.
would think.
I would think so. Yep. So as of now, David, you're the only one listed on the nominating report as being an usher and also as a member of the safety team. David Bird, Perry Bird, and Patrick Fold, they're listed as ushers, but they're not on the safety team, so.
Chairman Mosley.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're the chairman of the usher committee.
Well, I guess I deserve that for what I said.
Okay, where are we at? Whose turn to read?
I think it's mine, let's give it a minute.
That was ushers, so we're on to number 17, auditing.
Auditing. This committee shall be composed of 3 members nominated by the nominating committee. It shall be their duty to audit the books twice a year and bring a report to the church.
So currently listed on the nominating report, Cheryl Holzenbach, Donna Johnson, Wendy Ray. Any comments or questions about 17 auditing? All right, Brother Joe, 18, Safety Committee.
This committee shall consist of at least 5 members. The committee, through regular systematic inspection of all church buildings, will seek to discover safety or security issues. The safety committee will be responsible for reviewing and revising the emergency operating plan annually. The safety committee must conduct at least 2 drills a year. The safety committee will be responsible for the maintenance of all church safety and security equipment. Designated safety committee members will need to be current on first aid, CPR, AED, and security training. The safety committee will be responsible for training church members on the emergency operations plan.
Okay, Section 18 Safety Committee, thank you, Brother Joe. The safety team members listed in this report: Charlene Acox, Clint Bartlett, Rick Berkey, Wanda Berkey, Greg Carter, David Mosley, Christy Taylor, Stephen Thomas, Charlie Wilson. I have some questions about this, what's printed here.
We add in about child protection policy also.
I think all of it's gonna have to be updated, really.
These 2 paragraphs are out of date. There's some things in here that are probably good, but I don't think there's ever been a drill.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have any training yet for CPR, first aid, AED. We don't have any of that. So we're out of compliance. And we have attempted some church training of members, but it wasn't on EOP. I don't even know, do we have an EOP?
Yeah,
We do have an EOP.
we started that the first 3 or 4 months.
So
You should have a copy of it.
I probably do. I was just thinking,
We kind of left that and went to the
The
child
children's,
protection,
yeah.
put that behind us, and then COVID hit.
right, yeah.
And we're, this
So-
is where we are.
These 2 paragraphs are good, we probably should live up to them, but we're currently not. And it, again, it could be extenuating circumstances, COVID and whatever else.
What kind of drills are they referring to? A fire drill
Yeah,
or
fire
active
drill.
shooter drill
Right.
or?
Yeah. Basically evacuation of the buildings, like, in practice.
Or if the tornado were to go in the building.
And we pretty much well got those steps already in the book. It's just a matter of pulling them out. There's nothing that says we can't pull them out and go over them and do it.
Right.
I mean, we got child protection policy behind us, so,
Which drill do you crawl under the pew?
well,
Which
it
ones?
depends on what happens. That's where I have the problem, because that's where the first person here is always, so that's his decision, because he's in charge.
Right.
That's where I have some,
Yeah, it's hard to,
yeah.
hard
Couple
to
of
get
you
a hold of
kneel
that.
at the altar.
that's probably the best place to be if there's an emergency. All right. Well, we'll move on. I'd say that there's a lot of good stuff in there, but they're, at this point, they're a little bit kind of a, maybe a goal, something to
Well,
work
it'd be
towards.
worthwhile for us to go ahead and rework it now, and then revise it as we go along, because we're going to be incorporating more things
We are.
as we develop.
That's what I was thinking, just question mark it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
after we have a couple safety team meetings, maybe we can come up with something.
Okay. All right. Who read that?
I did.
Joe, you read that? All right, back to the front, bottom of page 19, church staff.
Article 13, church staff. The entire church staff, under the direction of the pastor and the personnel committee, as set forth in Article 12, Section 14 herein, shall consist of ministers and all personnel employed full or part-time by the church. The church may utilize any special committees deemed necessary to assist in the examination and the terms of call or employment of any staff member. The call or employment of all staff members shall be approved in church conferences by 3/4 of church members present qualified to vote. The pastor's wife shall not serve as church secretary.
There you have it, black and white.
Don't know
Any
what
comment?
she's gonna do, but we know what she's not gonna do.
Right. Does she play the piano?
Right.
It's funny how things like that get added. in the
Well, it's
history.
obviously happened.
Yes.
There were some things that happened that made that necessary.
Yeah, it puts the pastor's wife in a little bit of a precarious situation to have so many eyes following and watching and wondering, what is she gonna do? And sometimes it's fair, and then sometimes it's a little bit,
Not fair.
Well, that's just a position that I think the church finally decided pastor's wife didn't need to be put into.
well, and I'll take this moment to brag that Tammy does an excellent job. She's really wonderful.
We don't have a secretary anymore.
Well,
We have a ministry assistant.
Well, she does do an awesome job, man.
And
She
she'll tell
takes
you
me
that,
all
that's
the time.
right.
No, I am not a secretary.
I do appreciate that about her. She is, she does a great job and has a good sense of humor and,
I'll have to say Tammy has some of Miss Kitty's problems.
oh yeah,
She will stay too long working.
Yes, she does.
When she needs to
Yes.
stop and go home.
yes, she does.
She actually will take some of it home.
I was gonna say, Miss Kitty was the worst in the sense of being too good. She would take folders of work home and do things at home for free that she's supposed to be on the clock doing. She's done that a number of times.
Yes, she
You're
has.
exactly right. And there was no stopping it. You could say stop if you wanted to, and you're wasting your breath. You're just
Tell her
gonna
to
do
take
it.
a day off. She'll sure right up.
Well, Tammy really doesn't want me bragging on her, I'm sure, but she probably won't know about it either. Judy and Wanda took her to lunch, but they left, I guess, closer to 12 instead of wait till 1 when she was supposed to get off. And so it was like an appreciation lunch for her doing such a good job. And the idea of her missing an hour's worth of work was a part of the thank you. It's like, we're still gonna pay you for that hour, but you're not gonna work. Well, what'd she do the next day? She stayed and worked an extra hour. So, you're exactly right, David. She is, but anyway, we sort of swooped in on that and focused all of our attention on the last sentence. Anything else there in that paragraph that we need to talk about? All right. I would say maybe not, but I just wanted to make sure we thought about it because we sort of swooped in on that. I've got 12 till, but I think that most likely next Sunday night we'll be able to get through the next 3 pages pretty quickly, so we can just stop there and look at prayer requests for the rest of our time.
Next Sunday, Thursday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're not.
Oh, that's right, we won't be here next Sunday, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, we won't have no business meeting next Sunday night either.
Well, you know what? There's 2 or 3 things that have happened already, and they happened last year, and I'll just take the blame. I'm not doing a very good job of looking at the calendar and foreseeing these things, but that's one of them. It's already happened at least twice this year, hasn't it?
Yes.
Where we needed to delay a week. It's not that big of a deal, and it's even allowed for in our Constitution and bylaws, but nonetheless, I didn't see it ahead of time. I didn't call anybody's attention to it. And you know who caught it? You know who brought it up? Tammy.
Well, it's gonna be every year,
Probably.
because Mother's Day is the second Sunday of every.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. I've never bothered to implant that in my memory and bring it up when we're running through the calendar for the year. I just don't even think about it. The other thing, it came up at lunch today, there's a couple of holidays that are actually on Monday, but for the last 2 or 3 years in a row, maybe longer, and I don't think it's on our current church calendar, but because that holiday was Monday, we took that Sunday night off. And it was like Labor Day, Memorial Day, whatever, I don't remember what it was, but we voted to not have PM Sunday night service, with the next day being a holiday. So there's already a couple of times a year we do that, maybe 3. There's the Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Homecoming. But those other 2, I think they're both in the summer technically, maybe. But
Well, we usually take Easter.
maybe Easter too. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, so there's 4. But anyway, it seemed like
And another one would be Christmas if it fell on the Sunday.
it would. True. Yeah. Anyway, it's not that we can't recognize it when we start getting close and then vote when we have our business conference, but this year more than ever, it's just sort of slapping me in the face like, why don't we think about this? Why don't we catch this in December or January? And again, I take the blame. I don't put enough thought into it. I don't put enough effort into looking ahead and catching it. But, so I'm just saying that that's something that will probably come up in our next meeting, which won't be next Sunday, but the next Sunday after that.
So, when you try to catch them ahead of time and put them on the church calendar, so it's brought up first part of the year, or?
That's what I keep thinking in my mind. It feels like, to me, there's nothing wrong with catching it at the beginning of the month and it's happening at the end of the month and going ahead and talking about and voting on it then. To me, there's really nothing wrong with that. But deep down, I feel sort of like I dropped the ball. Like I didn't do a good, thorough job on getting the calendar set up right for the whole year. So, might be my own personal hang-up. All right, Brother Charlie, what do we need to pray about?